So I recently watched Stargirl, movie from 2020 on Disney Plus, and it was pretty enjoyable. But there are some problems I feel the compulsive need to mention. To get out of the way, why did I watch this movie? Well, I just watched Django Unchained. I was going to watch Inception. I needed to cool my mind down. It did work because I got Inception on the first watch, so take that, brainlets. Anyway, Stargirl, pretty cute movie, but glaring problem. So it starts off, the first thing I want to mention is that Stargirl character. It's a ridiculous name. Who would pick that for themselves? Secondly, is if somebody was dared to make a movie with the most textbook manic pixie dream girl ever. She's like if Summer from 500 Days of Summer and Clementine from Eternal Sunshine had a baby, and then that baby was raised by whatever Cara Delevingne's character in Paper Towns was called. From her behavior, it's very clear she's not right in the head. And she immediately comes to the school and becomes like one of the most popular girls because she sings a song. It just doesn't check out. It's not realistic, but I could see over that. Now, the problem I wanted to talk about was with the friend group of the main character. So it's also very generic. We got the generic teen movie protagonist, somewhat nerdy white guy. He's kind of boring. He's run of the mill, but he's still attractive enough to be a lead character. Then around him, we have the cool uncle-esque character. So the adult he can go through with his problems because it's not apparent. Played by Giancarlo Esposito. Like, how did they get this man? He's in The Mandalorian and Far Cry, but also in this Disney movie. Doesn't make the main character's best friend is generic person of color character who is nerdy, has a weird interest, in this case having a talk show on a high school, which is actually pretty cool. Why isn't he the main character? It's much more interesting than a guy that plays whatever wood or brass instrument he played. Then we have the dumb slow friend who only talks about food, has like 5 lines in the entire movie, and one of the guys' girl who is one of the guys, very tomboy-esque. And these side characters, they get very little play in the movie. They just say a few lines, but they're not really there. It's not about them at all. So my main problem comes at near the end of the movie when there's the dance scene, but we quickly see a cut of best friend and main character, and his name was Leo, that's it. Generic name as well. They're sitting drinking, and then Stargirl comes back after she is Stargirl again. Then we see the other 2 characters from the friend group dancing. So we see slow guy dancing with some girl, and we see one of the guys' girl dancing with a girl too. This of course implies that she's a friend of Ellen, which again is fine, representation, blah blah blah, important. But being the fact it's a Disney movie, they gotta do some spineless shit. So later when the bloke is singing, Leo, we see his friends and they're cheering him on. So we have the best friend who didn't have a date in the beginning, so logically he doesn't have a date. But then we have the slow guy who's clearly standing with his date on his arm. So he's dating. But one of the guy's girl, she doesn't have her date with her, even though she was also dancing with somebody. I do not know the intentions, obviously, and I kind of know if it was for a practical reason to not fill up the screen with random people. But it does seem kind of odd and strikes me a bit disappointing, at least, to have 2 very little interest characters like the slow guy and one of the guy's girl that both have a date, both dance at the ball, but then only one of them, the straight guy, gets to stand with his date in a later scene. That's just disappointing, and you would assume Disney needs to do better than that. So that was my big problem. Well, big problem. It's not that big of a deal, but it is sort of big a deal because it just kind of, I don't know. It's sad that they would not do it like that because it's clear that it's not about not showing those characters because the other guy does have the character. It seems to be an issue with the fact that she's a friend of Ellen, or some might call it a lesbian. I prefer the term friend of Ellen. Anyway, am I looking too much into this? Probably, but let me know. And thanks for coming to my YouTube video. If you thought I was going to say TED Talk, congratulations. You've been conditioned by media to think a certain way, just as everybody else is. Peace.